Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil with each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are continuing our study circle on the Gita Vahini, the stream of flow of divine writings in Sanathana Sarathi on Bhagavad Gita. So we have been doing this. We are going to start on page 5 in the book, and it is on your online PDF on page 9. By the way, I hope you had all wonderful Navaratri celebration ending with Vijayadashmi yesterday, and also yesterday was the Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement for Jews. It's interesting how they both coincided, these 10 days of Dasara and these 10 days where they started with Rosh Hashanah and ended with Yom Kippur. These special holidays, so these have become holy days because when we know the inner significance, and during this time there are special blessings and of the divine during this time. So now let us go to the theme of the Gita Vahini. So last week we discussed about two important aspects. One is Swami said that who is a Pandit? He says, who is the wise man? He says, the one who doesn't grieve about the living or the dead. That means whenever we are grieving, that we are not sochya nanvasochastvam prajnavadams gatasuna agatasuncha nanu sochanti pandita. Pandita is the one, the wise man. He doesn't say the one who knows Vedas, Shastras, Puranas or anything, but the one who doesn't grieve. That means first you should not have any sorrow for the living people or the people who are gone. So that is the thing, because they know the nature of human beings is everybody comes and goes. There is nobody, nothing is permanent. And also we talked about the examples, how Swami was an example, how when his own family members, his brother-in-law, who was very wonderful devotee, so his sister was a widow because of a rabid dog bite. Swami said, just made a comment, how will my play go on if there is no birth and death? For God, everything is a play. So for us, it is a problem. So just you need to take it. And also I talked about few other great devotees who just were not perturbed, even like I said, Ram Subbareddy, who was not upset when his son was lost. So main thing is to know the nature of life. That is, what is born is going to die. And now we are going to start from same. You may ask whether you would not feel sad when the body is moved. So this is where on page 5 in the hard copy and page 9 on the soft copy.
You may ask whether you would not feel sad when the bodies with which one had moved and lived for years go out of sight. But for how many have you to lament, in case it is proper so to grieve? Have you thought of that? joy and grief are as day and night. They have to be put up with, gone through. If you refuse, they won't stop happening. If you desire, they won't start happening. They are both related to the physical, the material, the body. They do not affect the spirit, the soul. The moment you escape from these two, that moment you are liberated. You have moksha, self-realization. The first discourse which teaches these truths is named Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the despondency of Arjuna. That is the very foundation of the edifice, which is the Bhagavad Gita. When the foundation is strong, the edifice too is lasting. The Gita, built on that foundation 5,000 years ago, is unshaken and unshakable. From this, you can infer how strong is the foundation on which it rests and how wise is the person who laid it.
The next paragraph also you can read.
You refer to it as despondency. But that despondency was very beneficial. It was no ordinary want of courage, for it tested his sincerity and steadfastness. It induced him to take unquestioning refuge in the Lord. That is why it is dignified by the name Yoga. The Gita, which begins with the Vishada Yoga, ends with the Sannyasa Yoga. Vishada is the foundation and Sannyasa the superstructure. Vishada is the seed and Sannyasa the fruit. The question may be right.
Okay.
I think we can stop.
Yeah, there's 3 paragraphs.
Swami is talking about the most important thing, that Arjuna is very sad that once he started his despondency, he's talking about, and the despondency is the foundation. And that's where it starts. The questioning, and the questioning starts, and then finally doesn't find an answer. Fortunately, he had the Lord nearby, so it became easy for him to. He knows that he cannot find a solution, so he asked the Lord to instruct him. I'm your disciple, please guide me, and took refuge in Bhagawan himself. So the despondency that became finally ended in surrender. Then the Lord takes over. So because of that, it became yoga, because finally that's what needs to happen. And it is so happened in the first chapter itself. That's what Swami is talking about.
Yeah, in the first paragraph, there is one, Swami said very clear, very important point. That moment you are liberated, the moment you escape from the two, what is that? Joy and grief, raga, dvesha, because we're all bound these dualities, these likes, dislikes, joy and grief. As long as this, that is why somebody said that the planets are not good, navagrahas. We know a lot of people do the worship of the 9 planets. Swami says that there are no 9 planets, there are only 2 planets. Those 2 planets are raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. We are all caught up in that. Because of that, only all this grief and sorrow. So once you go beyond those dualities, that moment, Swami said, you are liberated. That means you have moksha. So moksha means we think we are going to some place. No. Moha Kshaya is moksha. Very clear definition. Moha, your delusion, your attachment is gone. The minute it is gone, even when you are alive, you are liberated. They are called Jivan Muktas. They are liberated while alive. The great masters like Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, many great souls, they know the truth. They are not the body and they are the Atma. So once the minute you know that and you go beyond the pairs of this opposite, Swami says that moment you are liberated. For that, you should have a clarity of the facts. We all lament somebody, if close friend dies, or family member, or somebody loved one. Naturally, it says when they go out of sight, everybody cries. But you should know that is a fact of life. That is why three definitions Lord Krishna says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrutyuhu. Anything which is born, it has to die. It doesn't matter. It is a human being, a saint, a sinner, or a billionaire, or a pauper, or whether even avatar. Once you take the body, you have to leave. Rama came and gone, Krishna came and gone, Shirdi Sai came and gone, Sathya Sai. So the minute you are born, so Jata Sihi Dhruvo Mrityuhu, you are going to leave. So this is the one you need to buy. It is also applicable to animals. It is applicable to plants. Everything is, this is the nature of things. And second thing is, he gave the example, dehams. So like in the body, we have changes, childhood, youth, middle age, and old age. Similarly, there is the natural changes. Same thing which happen to the body. And finally, he also says, Vasamsi jirnani yadavihaya. Like the way you change your clothes periodically, this is the bodies are like clothes. We don't want to say, somebody said, oh, if your cloth is someplace there, it is torn or burnt, will you cry? No, because it is your shirt or pant. So similarly is your body. But there it says, okay, my shirt is burnt, I know burnt, I will get another one. How do I know what I will get? So, but it is the Lord is telling the truth. You should have that complete conviction. And second important thing is the yoga. As we talked about before, there are 18 yogas. First, it starts with Vishada Yoga and ends with Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. That means you will get moksha by the time you listen to all this and you practice it, not just by listening. So by sannyasa, that means you give up the selfish, desired, motivated actions, then you get moksha. But Vishada, why is it called yoga? Because only when people have Vishada, they turn towards God. Most of the people, when you're having party and have good time going and make it, so you don't even think about God. You are thinking out more about the worldly sense enjoyment. But when the troubles come, when people have troubles with the health, trouble health with the relationships, our family, or when we have problems at work or in the any time like that, your mind, oh my God, nobody is able to help me. Who will help? That is the time you turn to God. So that is why, that is the way it happens for most of the people. That is why Lord Krishna says, Artho, Arthati, Jijnasu, Jnani. Jnani means he always loves God for love's sake. So here he is talking about despondency happening. What is yoga? Yeah, like for example, when the troubles came, Draupadi, when she had trouble, that is the time she prayed to the Lord. And Gajendra, when the trouble came, he prayed to the Lord. So people, when they get trouble, they pray. That is why Kunti used to pray that, Lord, give me more and more troubles, so that I can go on thinking about God. I know we don't want that, but that is what she wants. And another thing is, but there are some noble souls like Prahlada, only 5-year-old boy. He has so much love for God. And Buddha, he had all the comforts, but he voluntarily renounced and went in search of the truth. There are some noble souls like this. But for that, the basic thing is complete refuge. That is what Swami is telling. Only Lord Krishna teaches him, Prapanna, I am going to completely surrender to you, Lord. Unquestioning surrender, then only Lord comes. So this is one. And people may say, what is yoga? People always talk about yoga. Nowadays, yoga courses are there everywhere, right? So most of the time here, people talk about in the West and all that is the Hatha Yoga or Raja Yoga or Pranayama. They think that is yoga. That is not the yoga. Yoga, that is why let us make it clear. What does Lord Krishna say? What is yoga? First he says, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Definition of yoga is dexterity in action. Whatever work you do is perfection in action is yoga. Like Swami Vivekananda said, a cobbler making the best pair of shoes, he is a great yogi, like a king who runs a kingdom the best. So main thing is perfection in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Another place Lord Krishna says, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. That means you are always equal-minded. So whether it is praise or blame, profit or loss, honor or dishonor, everything, all the pairs of opposites, you are not affected. You are always in that state of equanimity. So that is a Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. And third important definition is Dukkha Samyoga Vyogaha Yoga. That means there is no complete dissociation from grief. The real yogi is always in bliss. So they don't have anything, even though body, mind may be going through changes like you and me, everybody, but they are in bliss because they have awareness of the Atma. This is the definition. And Patanjali says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, just control of the faculties, that is agitated mind, chitta, because it thinks this, that, so that is yoga. So let us have clarity. Yoga is not just controlling the breath and putting the head down and feet up. Those are all hatha yoga, but the real yoga is, yoga means union. Union with what? God. That is what its happiness is. So these are the various 18 yogas he talks about. Even Vishada is a yoga. Because you are depressed, despondent, you get connected to God. Then the other things come, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Akshara, all these yogas, everything is going to connect you to God. That is the important things. Okay, you can continue.
But one important thing in this one I would like to mention, because we did the Sutra Vahini, Swami talked about Chat Sampati. First thing, the discrimination factor, that really helped here Arjuna, because he was able to, at that point, he couldn't find, he was confused. And the first discrimination is to say, okay, Lord, I surrender. That is the best thing that he can do, and the Lord takes over. The question may be raised, how could Arjuna be credited with a pure nature, which alone is said to deserve the wisdom imparted in the Gita? The word Arjuna means pure, unsullied, white. He is named very appropriately, and he lived up to the name that he bore. That is how he secured the immediate presence of Lord Krishna. That is how he became the instrument for the award of the Gita to the world. Krishna uses the word yoga many times in the Gita. The state of the individual, or jivi, during yoga too is described. Yet, a doubt may arise in the minds of those who have read the Gita that there is no agreement between the word as used ordinarily and as used by Krishna. Krishna has extolled vairagya, detachment, in some places. At other places, he has declared that the highest freedom can be earned by worship. Various methods of attaining the supreme state of spiritual bliss are also elaborated. In the 8th discourse, there is an account of Raja Yoga, but it is not right to say that the Gita is a text that teaches Raja Yoga. Read the next paragraph also.
You read this is good, because why, for everything you need to have deserving qualification. We talk about credentials, like people who take the gone to law school, they take LSAT, right? So who want to go to medical school, they said MCAT. And people want to go to college, they say SAT. So everything, even simple college degrees, you need the credentials. So more so in spirituality. That is why we talked about in Sutra Vahini, Brahma Sutras, how all those important credentials, 4 basic credentials, Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumuksha. So here, that is what Swami is telling. People are misunderstanding yoga, as we already talked about Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga. But the real yoga is to have this detachment, perfection in action, and having that equal-mindedness when you are detached. And here, God will give you, because everybody won't be interested to listen to Gita. As Swami says, only your Gita is good, you will listen to Bhagavad Gita, your destiny. Only people who are destined. So we are all fortunate to listen to Gita. Swami said, and Lord Krishna says in Gita 2 times, The people who talk about the Gita and people who listen and people who spread, they are the dearest to me. So he says, and there is nobody, actually he says there is nobody dearer than that to him. So because this is by God's grace only, we'll be able to listen to Gita and interest. Otherwise, people won't be interested. They said, yeah, talk about something else, not this. So you need to have that God's grace to be able to listen to the Gita. And here Arjuna was the most deserving. And even a candidate, God chooses to give the message only if you're deserving, like Arjuna. So Arjuna means pure, because he has a pure motive. That is why, because 5 Pandavas, all the 5 are good. Dharmaraja is embodiment of Dharma. Then Arjuna is there. Bhima is very strong, very devoted. Nakula and Sahadeva. Why did Lord Krishna of all the people choose Arjuna? Because he had certain qualifications. He had foresight. I think before the war happened, he thought, my God, if I going to be in the war, so many of people will die. My cousins will die, my grandparents, my teachers, so many people will die. So much bloodshed. Is it really good to do that? So much. So he was thinking of the consequences of the war. Whereas his elder brother Dharmaraja is embodiment of Dharma. He didn't think about it. After the whole war is done, he was crying, oh my God, I should not have done this war. He was repenting. He did a big yajna for repentance of the sin he committed. But he was ignorant. That's what says. Lord Krishna was the one presiding on the war. Then there is, once God presides, there is no more sin. So actually Lord Krishna says, Hatva sapa imam lokan na hanti na nibadhyati. Even you kill everybody is equal to not killing. Na hanti na nibadhyati. You won't have consequence. But Dharmaraja did not believe in that. So he did the yaga for the repentance. But Lord Krishna let it happen. If you want to do God, Swami also won't say no. But Arjuna had that foresight, that one important quality. Second thing is, as one-pointedness. For us also, as a spiritual seeker, whenever we took even service project, but everything you should need to think the pros and cons. Is it good? Not good? Is Swami will be pleased? What are the consequences? Whatever work we want to do. So always that foresight, analysis, fundamental discrimination. Second thing is, he has one-pointed. Whatever you do, people have scattered mind. They want to do this, go here, go to the temple, go here, run there. Whenever your mind is scattered, you can't focus. So one-pointedness is very, very important. You all know the story of Arjuna, how when they were trying the lessons for the archery, everybody was looking when they were telling the target, everybody was looking at the sky, or the branches, or the trees, or fruit, but only Arjuna looked at the eye of the bird. That one-pointedness is very important in spirituality. One is foresight, second is one-pointedness. Third is absolute faith. He has complete faith in Lord Krishna. So, like for example, we heard that story when he was going, they showed a bird. Is it a crow? He said, yes. It is a peacock. He said, yes. It is a dove. He said, whatever he said. Then Lord Krishna said, hey, how could you be, whatever I say, you say yes. He says, I believe more in your words, Lord, rather than my senses. Then my senses can deceive me, but not your words. That is why we should all have absolute faith in the words of our Guru and God. And another thing, fourth important thing is priority to God in life. Arjuna had. So when before the war, when the Lord gave the choice, you want to choose me, unarmed, I won't even fight, I won't do anything, versus all this army. So this Duryodhana, because he's a worldly person, he chose that. And what is the end? Destruction. Whereas Arjuna, smart man, if God is on my side, it doesn't matter whether I have weapons or not. You choose Lord Krishna and the actuator. So he gave priority to God in life, not the world. That is why Swami beautifully said, everything is a zero. Your family is a zero. Your bank balance is a zero. Your position is a zero. Everything is zero. But if you have God, number one in front of it, it becomes billions, trillions. So we should have priority. So these four noble qualities Arjuna had. One is foresight and one-pointedness, and he had complete, absolute faith in God, and he gave the priority to God. So these are because of those qualities, Arjuna received that thing. So we also need to develop that qualities. Though you read Gita, it will sink into us. We understand the meaning and all that. So that is very, very important to remember that. Why Swami said, that is why, he says, why did he deserve to be imported in the Gita? Swami is telling, that is because he had that foresight and then had the detachment. So, okay, you can continue, Krishna.
Complete surrender to Lord Krishna, freedom from the threefold shackles which bind one with the external world of objects, the observance of good deeds, and virtuous disciplines. These are the principal truths underlined in the Gita. The Lord holds these forth as the best forms of training and the deepest secrets of inner progress. The real meaning of the Gita is not grasped by all. Reputed scholars and writers, though gifted with rare intelligence, have failed to unravel the mystery of its message. Commentators speak of the principle of perfect balance amidst all change, or of the achievement of freedom as more important than anything else. On the other side, others compare the Gita with the philosophical texts of the West with which they are familiar and start teaching young minds in that strain. Of course, full renunciation is highly desirable, but only a very small number can practice it. If a certain spiritual teaching has to gain universal acceptance, it must have disciplines that can be practiced and experienced by everyone in daily life and its activities. Swami is again reinforcing surrender, and more importantly, is very practical. It's absolute. I mean, renunciation, full renunciation is highly desirable, but not many can practice. So he's already telling how Gita is going to help us to practice and experience. So that's an important thing that Gita comes down to everyone and teaches us. Of course, that's he's laying the foundation for that.
Yeah, we talked about before Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Because these are all, as he said, these are the spiritual text for life. Shravana is Upanishads and Manana is Brahma Sutras. And here, the Nididhyasana for daily practical life, that is what Lord Krishna himself sought. Whereas Upanishads were revelation to the rishis and Brahma Sutras was Badrayana, but this one was only the Lord himself gave the message, Lord's message. That is why it is very, very important. It is a practical day-to-day text. The very fact it was taught in the middle of battlefield, it shows how important it is, how practical it is. So it is important is, he showed by that Swami says, this is a practical text, how you live. Because if the high text, like there are many Vedantic texts, like you read the Ashtavakra Gita, or somebody, one of my friends, Avadhuta Gita, the Yoga Vashishta, and this Mandukya Upanishad. These are all very high stuff. So after a while, you don't know what you are doing. So if unless you are prepared at that level or you are already ready, you can't understand. Whereas this is a practical, hey, this is what you should do. What three things Swami said? You should do the good deeds. Everybody can do. See good, see no evil. Hear good, hear no evil. Speak good, speak no evil. Think good, think no evil. Do good, do no evil. These are, anybody can think. You don't need to be even go to a college. There are some saints who never went to college, but they lived the life. It means they always do good, see good, be good, and hear good, speak good. So that is one. Here says, one is observance of good deeds and virtuous discipline. Second is get rid of the threefold shackles. What are the shackles? Sattva, Rajas, Tama. Every one of us has it. Right? You don't have it. We all have Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva. Everybody has it. So what is more predominant? Because tamas means always inertia, apathy, you want to sleep, lazy, gossip, and waste your time. So that is tamasic quality, inertia, apathy. Whereas rajasic, they're always agitated, restless, you want to be, which is good, better than tamasic. They always want to be active, do work, but too much agitated mind. They have ambition, they have got attachment to the fruits of the action. So their mind is always restless. So that is rajasic. But the better is sattvic, serene, calm, tranquil, like the saints. They don't get disturbed. They're more contemplative by nature. That is better. So these are, but all these three, Swami called shackle. Shackle means they are chains. Like tamasic, you can compare to an iron chain. Somebody binds you iron chain. This rajasic is like a silver chain. Somebody nice makes bill. And sattvic is a gold chain. Chain is a chain, so you are bound, right? So do you want to be chained? You don't want chain. You want to be without chain. That is why Trigunatita. That is why Lord Krishna says in the Gita beginning itself, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyam Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna, these Vedas are all in the field of three gunas. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. All the Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig Veda, the other one, all of these talk about Karma Kanda, do this yajna, do these hymns. They're all in the realm of these three gunas. Nistraigunyam Bhava Arjuna. But Arjuna, if you want to know the liberated, you should go beyond the three gunas. That is why there is a chapter in Gita called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Just talks about these three gunas and to how to go beyond the three gunas. This is the 14th chapter. So people are interested, you can do. That is the second thing. And third thing is very simple and straightforward, is complete surrender. It looks simple, but it's the ultimate. That means, Lord, thine will be done. So I refuse. That is what Lord Krishna, first Arjuna goes on telling, he tells like a philosopher, the reason, because he's despondent, he doesn't want to kill. So he throws his bow and arrow and says, then Lord Krishna scolds him. Anaryujishtam asargam akirtikaram Arjuna. He says, this is undeserving of you. This is not at all right for you. He will give you disrepute. Then he says, but then he gives a Klaibyam masmagamah partha chudram hrudaya daurbalyam. This weakness of the heart is chudram, the despicable. It's not at all good. Whenever we are depressed, we have anxiety, dejection, people want to give up, that is, God doesn't approve that. Chudram hrudaya daurbalyam. Then he says, Twakto tishta parantapa. Just get up and just move on. That is what Lord, the Swami Vivekananda's favorite slokam. Just, you don't be despondent, just try to move on and fight. That is very, very important. So this is what here he is talking about, is just action. And there when he goes on telling, this will happen, which is true, all this will happen, then Lord Krishna goes on listening. So because this guy is going on saying, then finally he says, I am your sisteste maham, I am your disciple, Shadhimam, just order me, Pam Prapanna. That is the only, I have surrendered to you completely. Then only Lord Krishna starts. Otherwise, you go on doing your works, like you go there, you have your family, your parties, your deals. He won't interfere. Okay, have fun. But when he says, no, I don't, I want the ultimate truth, then only God comes. Sri Ramakrishna gave a beautiful example. Like the baby is there, baby will be playing with the toys, going here, they are playing. The mother will leave, she will be working in the kitchen doing her stuff. When the baby is tired, they throws all the toys and just coming, mom, and come crying to the mother. Then mother takes her, hugs her, and do that. Same thing, God, when we are happy with our toys, these cars, homes, family, he's having fun, let him have, which is not really fun, a lot of pain also there. The Swami says, pleasure is the interval between two pain. But when you are tired of this, no, this is never-ending thing. So you come, Lord, only I want you. You are the source of bliss. Then Lord comes in our life. That is very important. Just to have that complete surrender. So these are the three important things: doing good things, and then complete getting beyond the three shackles, and then complete surrender. So that is the three important points you should take. And this is a practical Vedantic text compared to others. Okay, you can do Two more paragraphs.
No, there's a question for me. It says practical. It's everything is practical. Swami says it's practical, and many times even simple things as practical is so difficult to practice in the kind of the Google world where people are so much distracted and everything else. Uh, the point is that so it's of course it's definitely people need to practice, otherwise you cannot get, because Swami said so and you have to practice it. The one of the things that at least the young adults today is that, oh, we don't need to worry about it now, we can do it later when the age is, you know, appropriate, postponing things as well. That's kind of another problem with the gunas. So anything that
That is the most,
like an
that is the
advice.
most dangerous. Swami, that is why Swami says, start early, drive slowly, and reach safely. The earlier you start your spiritual life, so you can see most of the people, you was start early. You can sometimes, like my father was teaching Gita to my mother when I was in her womb. So just you need to start early, like Prahlada, he heard. So all these things, the later you start, your mind is already occupied with this. Swami says, yes, tender sapling plant, you can bend it, and you can if it is curved, you can straighten it. Once it has grown as a tree, can you break it? You will. If you try to make it straight, if it's curved, you will break it. So similarly, people, when you start later life, almost all the great teachers, they started. Take Adi Shankara. By the age of 32, he traveled all over and he did that. Swami Vivekananda, by 39, he achieved everything. So that is the earlier you start, when your body, senses, and mind is strong, that is the time to start the journey. If you postpone, that is too late. You cannot. That is why even see some, because of age, it doesn't matter. Then people, I have seen 75, 80-year-old people that are interested in playing cards and going movies and going parties. Even at 80s, they don't learn. So these vasanas are very strong. So earlier age itself, we need to develop those good vasanas. So procrastination is thief of time, more so in spiritual life. That is why if you want, you start early. Like that, all great monks of Sri Ramakrishna order, they don't even take anybody out if they want to join after the age of 25. There's a cutoff, because after 25 you already have your own vasanas and all that, you won't be able to give up. So the earlier that strong foundation you have, that interest in God, that earning, that longing for God, that's very important, is to start in the early age. So for that, and that is why Swami grooms that is why did he spend so much time with the students and children, is because that is the time you can be really groomed into spirituality. That is very, very important. You need to, almost time is up. Maybe that the other thing is important. The next two paragraphs are very, very important. So probably we should discuss in detail. Huh? Yeah. Okay. What is the exact meaning of Vishada? Yeah, Vishada is sorrow, grief, despondency. There's all this. And you're all dejected. Vishada could be anything. Vishada, sorrow is due to anything. As I said, you lost your loved one, somebody died in your family, or your friend died. That is a cause of sorrow. Or you lost financial loss, you lost big money in whatever investments you have. That is the cause for Vishada. You have a problem at your work, you are fired, or your boss is giving you trouble. That is a source of Vishada. Or your health is problem, your health is in trouble. That is also Vishada. Any of these things could be source of grief and sorrow. That is why, that's why we are all human beings. They have one major problem: fear. So that's why Swami came. Most of the gods, as I said, they have two things: Abhaya Hasta, Varada Hasta. They just be fearless. You see, most of the murtis of God, Abhaya Hasta, just good, and Varada Hasta, they give the boons. Whatever boons you want, they give, and then they say Abhayam. But Swami is the only one double Abhaya Hasta. He says, both hands, he says, be fearless. Why fear when I'm here? There is even a bhajan. Why fear when I'm here? Because fear is constant from the childhood to the death. People are worried, so it starts fear. So as we get middle age, fear of losing youth. Oh, I'm becoming older, so I'm losing hair, I'm getting white hair, I'm getting this loss of youth. Then loss of health. Oh, I'm getting this sickness, this ache, that pain, loss of health. And then fear of loss of wealth. Oh, if I do that, I will lose my money. I will happen. Will I be broke? So, and then fear of losing power and position. You are in a particular position, re-election you will get or not. You will do that, then president or anything. You are fear of losing your position, power, and losing the name and fame. And finally, the greatest fear is fear of death. My God, I'm going to. But that is a fact of life, all this. So, but when you know the facts and you analyze, you get that discrimination, then no more Vishada. This is the whole secret is these great yogis, you can see, they're always in bliss because they don't actually. One of my friends, he met in Bombay, one yogi, he's called Laughing Swami. He's just laughs. Anybody who says, ha ha ha, then again, ha ha ha, everybody goes on laughing. So that becomes like a sadhana, like a yogi. So just be happy. Don't just say to have a long face as Vivekananda. Cast style is not good. Just have a cheerful, joyful face. And just when you know these are all passing clouds, the whole thing is a dream. So it's nothing to be taken so seriously. So today we are, tomorrow gone, water bubble. So just be happy and make others happy. That is the whole the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, this teaching of detachment and how to go beyond sorrow. Everybody wants to, there are two things Lord Krishna says, it's going to come in the future chapter. Atyantika dukkha nivritti niravadika sukha prapti. Everybody wants, right? This is get rid of the sorrow and I want happiness. Is there anybody who doesn't want that? The whole thing, why you want to work, you go to work, you make money, is just you want to be happy, you want to have comfortable finance. Why do you want to have family, wife, children? You think you will have happiness. Whether it's a fact, whether you have or not, that is different matter. So anything you acquire, the cars, whatever it is, thinking you will get happiness. And you want to get rid of the sorrow. But these are all temporary. Once it is cars you will get a mechanical trouble, something, house, you have to pay the taxes, the repairs. All this is associated pains will come. You tell one thing which doesn't have pain, whether it is having a family, wife, children, or whether the house and the properties or the cars, whatever you acquire, it is associated with sorrow. That is why Lord Buddha realized that even though he had a kingdom, he has a wife, beautiful wife, child, everything he has, whatever king, he's a royal family, but he realized they are temporary. So he says, no, I want to go, which is the highest bliss. That is why they say, Atyantika dukkha nivritti. Temporarily we can get rid of the sorrow. Like I have sickness, cold, bronchitis, you get rid of it, but afterwards something else will come. But here, Atyantika, that means once for all kinds of sorrow is gone. And niravadika athit ananda prapti. We all get some pleasures now, eating nice sweets or having some good mangoes or some things. So going to friends' place, talking, this gives joy. The temporary joy, it is gone after a while. Again, you want something else. Whereas he is unending bliss, atyantika sukha. That is not only in spirituality. Permanent cessation of sorrow. Permanent, remember that. Permanent cessation of sorrow and unending bliss. That is the goal of spirituality, and that is the secret Lord Krishna reveals. Sai Ram will continue next week.